In the big city of New York, where indifference often reigns, an unexpected encounter between two souls would forever change their lives. Jimmy, a homeless man, and Marcus, a millionaire CEO, crossed paths in the most extraordinary way, leading to a heartwarming transformation that no one saw coming. This is a story about Jimmy, a homeless man who had very little, just a few clothes, a coat, and a blanket. Every day, he would ask people for money to buy a meal. But on this particular day, it seemed like the world had turned a blind eye to him. As time passed, Jimmy felt like hours were turning into minutes, and no one stopped to help him. The weight of despair hung heavily on his shoulders, and his rumbling stomach reminded him of his hunger. Just when Jimmy was about to lose all hope, a surprising savior appeared in the midst of the crowd. It was a young lady with a compassionate smile. She reached into her purse and handed Jimmy a crisp $20 bill. Her act of kindness was like an oasis in a desert of indifference. Jimmy was astonished by the generosity of this gesture. $20 was far more than he had ever expected. He stammered, "I can't accept this much," unable to believe his luck. The young lady's eyes met his with determination. She said softly, "I may not have much myself, but I've learned that helping others is a way to help ourselves. Please take it." Her words were like a gentle breeze that lifted the heavy weight of despair from Jimmy's shoulders. With tears welling up in his eyes, he accepted the money with trembling hands. Gratitude welled up within him, a feeling he had almost forgotten. He thanked the young lady sincerely and wondered about the new possibilities this kind stranger had opened up for him. In that very moment, amidst the noisy city, Jimmy found himself standing on the threshold of a world defined by kindness. His heart swelled with the promise of something extraordinary, and he headed to the nearest diner, guided by the flame of hope reignited in his chest. This was the beginning of a transformative journey, one that neither he nor anyone else could have predicted. Jimmy tightly held the fresh $20 bill, a symbol of hope, in his trembling hand. For a brief moment, his hunger was forgotten as he entered a nearby 7-Eleven store, scanning the shelves filled with packaged snacks and instant noodles. He couldn't help but think about the young lady's act of kindness as he made his choices and headed to the counter to pay. However, fate had something more in store for Jimmy that day. When he left the store with a bag of food, he noticed another person in need. This man, who went by the name Stephen, was huddled in the cold city streets with a heartbreaking sign that read, "Haven't eaten in 2 days, please help." Stephen approached Jimmy looking weary and desperate. He said, "Hey brother, can you spare a few dollars? I'm starving." Jimmy felt a deep empathy for Stephen, knowing what it was like to go hungry. However, he admitted, "I'm not the best person to ask right now, my friend. I'm homeless and hungry too, but I can share my food with you." As they talked while eating, their stories unfolded. Stephen had lost his job due to circumstances beyond his control, which made it impossible for him to pay rent. He ended up on the streets because he had no other choice. Jimmy, in turn, shared his own story of losing everything by helping a friend who turned out to be dishonest. Listening to Stephen's troubles, Jimmy's heart swelled with compassion. He remembered the young lady's words, "Helping others is a way to help ourselves," and he decided to act on them. With a hesitant smile, he offered all the change he had from the $20 bill to Stephen, saying, "You need this more than I do. Let's share it." Even though Stephen initially wanted to split the money, Jimmy insisted that he take it all. He also gave Stephen his coat, seeing that he needed it more. Jimmy said, "I've learned that helping others is a way to help ourselves." Tears filled Stephen's eyes, and he accepted the money and the coat with deep gratitude. He was moved by Jimmy's selflessness, something rare in the harsh environment of the city. "I will pay you back," Stephen promised. As Jimmy walked away, he left Stephen with words of sincerity. "Promise me, when you have the chance, help someone else in need. Pay it forward." With a renewed sense of purpose, Jimmy continued his journey. Little did he know that this simple act of kindness, this encounter with a fellow homeless person, would have profound consequences. The city, with its many indifferent faces, had unknowingly set in motion a transformation that would forever connect the lives of Jimmy and a stranger who was more than he appeared to be. In the following days, something incredible happened on the city streets, and Jimmy had no idea. Stephen, who was now going by his real name, Marcus, had transformed himself. He was no longer a homeless man. He was now walking the streets in a sharp suit, searching for Jimmy. What Jimmy didn't know was that Marcus was a wealthy and influential CEO of a major company. Marcus was on a mission, driven by a deep desire to show his gratitude to Jimmy, the man who had helped him when he needed it the most. He wanted to thank Jimmy and reveal the surprising truth about who he really was, a truth that would leave Jimmy completely astonished. One fateful day, as Jimmy was walking through the city, something he never expected happened. Marcus, now dressed in an elegant suit that concealed his true identity, approached Jimmy. He was holding the coat that Jimmy had given him, and his eyes shone with gratitude. "Jimmy," Marcus said, his voice filled with emotion, "I need to tell you something. My real name is Marcus, and I'm not homeless. I've been looking for you to return your coat and express my gratitude for your kindness." Jimmy was in shock, trying to reconcile the well-dressed man before him with the homeless person he had met on the streets. As Marcus revealed his true identity, he gave Jimmy an envelope. Inside it, there was enough money to provide meals and shelter for a whole month, along with the key to a prepaid hotel room. But there were more surprises to come. With a genuine smile, Marcus offered Jimmy an opportunity that would change the course of his life. "I'd also have a job offer for you in my company," he said. "It's an entry-level position, but I believe with your remarkable mindset and kindness, you'll excel. You'll start with a yearly salary of $40,000, and I have a feeling you'll move up quickly." Jimmy was speechless. He stood there, holding the envelope and looking at the key and the job offer. It was a chance for a new life, an opportunity to leave behind the difficulties of the street, and a fresh start to rebuild his life. This unexpected revelation marked a turning point in Jimmy's life. The homeless man who had once given away everything, he had now stood at the edge of a second chance, offered by a stranger who had discovered the immeasurable value of kindness. As this chapter came to a close, Jimmy faced a decision that would shape the rest of his days. Jimmy found himself at a crucial crossroads, with the weight of destiny on his shoulders. Marcus, the CEO who had once pretended to be homeless, had offered him a chance for redemption. The job opportunity, the prepaid hotel room, and the money in the envelope were the building blocks of a new beginning. With a heart full of gratitude and a glimmer of hope, Jimmy accepted Marcus' offer. Even though it was an entry-level job, it opened the door to a future he could only dream of while living on the streets. A steady income of $40,000 per year was a huge leap from the unpredictable life he used to lead. Starting his new job at Marcus's company, Jimmy brought to it the same determination and resilience that had marked his journey. Despite the initial challenges, he tackled each day with unwavering dedication, eager to prove himself in the unfamiliar world of employment. The prepaid hotel room provided a comforting and safe haven, a far cry from the uncertainty and exposure of life on the streets. For the first time in years, Jimmy could lay his head on a soft pillow and relish the simple pleasure of a warm bed. But what truly made this chapter remarkable was not just Jimmy's personal transformation. It was his unwavering commitment to pay forward the kindness he had received. He never forgot the days on the streets, the faces of the people he had met, and the difficulties he had faced. Inspired by his own experiences, Jimmy set out on a mission to support the homeless community he had left behind. He established a foundation focused on providing food, clothing, and guidance to those on the verge of rebuilding their lives. His ultimate goal was to give these individuals the tools and support they needed to reintegrate into society, find employment, and achieve self-sufficiency. The foundation quickly gained momentum, and Jimmy's story became an inspiration for many. He enlisted volunteers who shared his vision and extended their hands to help those in need. Together, they offered hot meals, warm clothing, and valuable advice to the homeless population. Jimmy's dedication to this cause remained unwavering, showing the power of kindness and a profound impact it could have on a community. In this chapter of his life, Jimmy's journey had come full circle. He not only embraced the second chance life had given him, but also ensured that others could follow the path of transformation he had walked. His story became a symbol of hope, demonstrating the incredible change that could occur when a single act of kindness rippled through the lives of many. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and this other story that may be appearing on the screen will most likely move you as well. Have a nice day and see you in the next video.